Captain Dae-ho Kim stood on the wide bridge of the HSS Colossus. His dark uniform fit well against his tall frame. He looked out at the stars through the massive front window. This ship, the first Titan-class battleship humans had ever built, was finally ready. "Captain, all systems are working at full power," said Lieutenant Jisoo Park from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the glowing control panel. "The engines are ready when you are." Dae-ho nodded. This moment was 15 years in the making. The Colossus was huge, 5 kilometers long and 1 kilometer wide. It held weapons that could destroy small moons. Its shields could take hits from almost any known weapon. Most important, it carried the new warp drive that would take humans beyond their solar system for the first time. "How is the crew doing?" Dae-ho asked, turning to his second-in-command. "All 5,000 crew members are at their posts, sir," Jisoo replied. "The scientists are checking their labs. The soldiers are running final drills. The diplomats are studying their notes on possible first contact situations." Dae-ho walked slowly around the bridge. Each station had 3 crew members working together. They all wore the blue and gray uniforms of Earth's United Space Force. After centuries of fighting each other, the nations of Earth had finally joined together 50 years ago. Now they were ready to meet whatever waited for them in space. "Captain, incoming message from Earth Command," said Communications Officer Han Byul-yoon. His voice was calm, but Dae-ho could hear the excitement underneath. "Put it on the main screen," Dae-ho ordered. The face of Admiral Sung-ho Lee filled the giant screen at the front of the bridge. His white hair and lined face showed his 65 years of age. He had been one of the main supporters of the Titan-class ship program. "Captain Kim," the Admiral said with a slight smile, "today is a historic day for humanity. The Colossus represents our greatest achievement. You and your crew carry the hopes and dreams of 10 billion people." Dae-ho stood straighter. "We understand the responsibility, Admiral." "Your mission is clear," Admiral Lee continued. "Explore beyond our solar system. Find out if we are alone in the galaxy. If we are not alone, make peaceful contact if possible. But above all, protect Earth and humanity's interests." "Yes, sir," Dae-ho replied. "The Colossus is both our hand of friendship and our shield," the Admiral said. "We hope for peace, but we have built this ship to be ready for anything else." Dae-ho knew what the Admiral meant. Humanity had a violent history. They had no reason to think alien species would be any different. The Colossus was designed to impress or frighten anyone they might meet. "We're counting on you, Captain. Good luck and return safely to Earth when your mission is complete." "Thank you, Admiral. We won't let Earth down." The screen went dark. Dae-ho turned to face his bridge crew. "This is it," he said. "Humanity's first step into the wider galaxy." Science Officer Tae-woo Choi spoke up from his station. "Captain, the warp drive is showing all green lights. The new elements we mined from Jupiter's moons are stable." "Good," Dae-ho said. He pressed a button on his chair. His voice would now reach every part of the massive ship. "Attention all crew. This is Captain Kim. In 5 minutes, we will activate our warp drive and leave our solar system. Each of you was chosen from millions of applicants because you are the best Earth has to offer. I am proud to lead you on this historic mission. Whatever we find out there, we will face it together." He released the button and looked at his bridge officers. "Helm, set course for the Proxima Centauri system." Pilot Officer Junho Bae nodded. "Course set, Captain. Engineering, are we ready for warp?" Chief Engineer Min-ji Kang's voice came through the speaker. "Warp drive at full power, Captain. We can go whenever you're ready." Dae-ho took a deep breath. In the 15 years it took to build the Colossus, he had trained for this moment every day. Now it was here. "Start the countdown," he ordered. Lieutenant Jisoo Park pressed some buttons. A large timer appeared on all screens. Warp countdown started. 10 minutes on the clock. The bridge was quiet as the minutes ticked by. Everyone was busy at their stations, but Dae-ho could feel the tension in the air. Excitement and fear mixed together. No human had ever traveled using warp speed before. The tests had all been successful, but this was the real thing. "Captain," Security Chief Min-ji Kang called from her station. "All weapon systems are online. Shields are at maximum power." "Good," Dae-ho replied. He didn't expect trouble this close to Earth, but it was better to be safe. 2 minutes to warp, Jisoo announced. Dae-ho sat in his captain's chair. It was made of real leather and designed to be comfortable during long missions. The chair could turn in any direction so he could see all parts of the bridge. Right now he faced forward, looking at the stars through the main window. 1 minute to warp. The ship's engine made a low humming sound that grew louder. The deck vibrated slightly under their feet. 30 seconds. Deho gripped the arms of his chair. The scientist had promised that no one would feel the transition to warp speed, but no one really knew for sure. 10 seconds. 9. 8. 7. The humming reached its peak. The lights dimmed for a moment, then came back brighter. 3, 2, 1. Warp drive activated! There was a flash of brilliant blue light that filled the bridge. Deho felt a strange pulling sensation as if his body was being stretched. Then it was gone. The stars outside the window had changed. Instead of individual points of light, they now saw streaks of white across the black of space. "We've done it," Taewoo said in amazement. "We're traveling at warp speed." The bridge crew broke into cheers and applause. Some hugged each other. Others just stared at the screen in wonder. "Status report," Deho called out once the celebration died down. "All systems normal, Captain," Jisoo reported. "The warp field is stable. We're on course for Proxima Centauri. How long until we arrive?" Taewoo checked his readings. "At our current speed, 3 days, Captain. The warp drive is performing even better than we hoped." "Excellent." Deho stood up. "Lieutenant Park, you have the bridge. I'm going to tour the ship and check on the crew." "Yes, Captain," Jisoo replied, moving to take the central chair. Deho rode the elevator down from the bridge. The Colossus had 50 decks, and he wanted to visit as many as possible today. The crew needed to see their captain, especially now that they had made history together. His first stop was engineering. The warp drive took up 3 full decks at the rear of the ship. Chief Engineer Minji Kang met him at the entrance to the main engine room. "Captain," she said with a smile, "come to see the heart of your ship?" "The most important part," Deho agreed. "How is it running?" Minji led him to a railing where they could look down at the massive warp core. It pulsed with blue energy. Dozens of engineers moved around it, checking readings and making small adjustments. "It's beautiful," Minji said. "The power output is steady. The new elements are working perfectly together. We could maintain this speed for years if we needed to." "Let's hope the mission doesn't last that long," Deho joked. Next, he visited the science labs. The Colossus carried 200 of Earth's top scientists. They had every kind of equipment they might need to study new planets, stars, or even alien life forms. Science Officer Taewoo had left the bridge to join his team. He showed Deho the main biology lab. "We're ready for any kind of life we might find," Taewoo explained. "We can analyze DNA, proteins, or even completely different types of biological systems. Do you think we'll find life?" Deho asked. Taewoo smiled. "I hope so. But even if we don't, there's so much to learn out here." After the labs, Deho toured the living areas. Unlike older spaceships, the Colossus was designed for comfort. The crew had private rooms with real beds. There were gardens with trees and flowers to provide fresh air. The mess halls served real food, not just the processed meals of early space missions. "The ship is amazing, Captain," said Medical Officer Jun Seo Kwan when Deho visited the medical bay. "Everyone is healthy and excited. A few people had minor headaches after the jump to warp speed, but nothing serious." "Good," Deho replied. "Keep me updated if anything changes." His last stop was the diplomatic section. This was where Earth's representatives prepared for possible meetings with alien species. They had studied every theory about how aliens might think or communicate. Head diplomat Su Jin-oh greeted him warmly. "Captain, we're ready for first contact scenarios ranging from completely friendly to potentially hostile." "Let's hope for friendly," Deho said. "Of course. But we're prepared for anything." By the time Deho returned to the bridge, 6 hours had passed. The ship continued to move smoothly through warp space. "All stations report normal operations, Captain," Jisoo said as she gave him back the chair. "Thank you, Lieutenant." Deho sat down. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them the warp jump was successful and all systems are working as expected." "Yes, sir." Jisoo passed the order to Hanbyul at Communications. Deho looked out at the streaks of light that were once stars. Somewhere out there, unknown to humanity, other civilizations might exist. They might be peaceful or they might be dangerous. Either way, humanity was now taking its first real steps into the galaxy. The Colossus continued on its journey, carrying humanity's hopes, dreams, and power into the unknown. Back on Earth, 10 billion humans looked up at the night sky, wondering, 3 weeks had passed since the HSS Colossus left Earth's solar system. The massive ship had visited 4 star systems. They had found beautiful planets with strange rocks and interesting chemicals, but no life. The crew kept busy with their work, but many were starting to wonder if they would ever find aliens. Communications specialist Hanbyol Yoon sat at his station on the bridge. His job was to listen for any signals that might come from space. So far, he had heard nothing but normal space noise. He was about to take a break when his screen lit up with strange patterns. "Captain Kim," Hanbyol called out, his voice rising with excitement. "I'm picking up a signal. It's not natural. It has patterns that suggest it was made by intelligent beings." Captain Daeho Kim moved quickly to the communication station. "Are you sure? Could it be from Earth?" "No, sir. It's coming from a direction where we have no human ships or stations, and the pattern is unlike anything in our records." Daeho looked at the strange symbols on Hanbyol's screen. "Can we decode it? Figure out what it means?" "I've started the ship's AI working on it, but it's very different from human languages. It might take time. Keep trying. This could be our first proof that we're not alone." Daeho turned to his science officer. "Tae-woo, can you tell where this signal is coming from?" Science Officer Tae-woo Choi checked his instruments. "It seems to be bouncing between several points, Captain, like it's part of a network. If I had to guess, I'd say we've stumbled onto some kind of interstellar communication system." The idea made Daeho's heart beat faster. A communications network meant multiple worlds talking to each other. It meant a community of alien species already existed out here in the galaxy. "Lieutenant Park," Daeho called to his second-in-command, "set a course to follow the strongest signal. Let's see where it leads us." "Yes, Captain," Jisoo replied. She gave the new course to the helm officer. For the next few days, the Colossus followed the strange signals. They grew stronger as the ship moved deeper into an unknown region of space. Hanbyol and his team worked around the clock trying to decode the messages. "Captain, I think we're getting somewhere," Hanbyol reported on the 4th day. "The AI has identified repeated patterns that might be words or phrases. It's still mostly nonsense to us, but we're making progress." "Good work," Daeho said. "Keep at it." Later that same day, Tae-woo called for the captain's attention. "Sir, I'm picking up an unusual energy reading ahead. It's not a star or a natural phenomenon. The pattern suggests artificial technology." "How far away?" "If we continue at our current speed, we'll reach it in about 6 hours." Daeho considered his options. They were far from Earth now, in completely unknown space. If there was danger ahead, they would be on their own. But this was why they had come, to discover new things. "Drop us out of warp speed when we get close," he ordered. "I want to approach slowly and carefully." "Yes, sir," Jisoo confirmed the order. 6 hours later, the Colossus dropped out of warp speed. The streaks of light outside the windows turned back into individual stars. Ahead of them was a strange sight, a small ship drifting near a field of asteroids. It was clearly damaged, with parts of its hull torn open. "Life signs?" Daeho asked. Tae-woo checked his sensors. "Faint readings, Captain. Something is alive on that ship, but the signals are weak. They might be injured or in hibernation. Any signs of weapons or shields?" "None that are active. The ship appears to be without power except for basic life support." Security Chief Minji Kang spoke up from her station. "Captain, I advise caution. This could be a trap. We don't know anything about the species that built that ship." Daeho nodded. Minji was doing her job, thinking about dangers the others might miss. "Your concern is noted, Chief Kang. But if there are injured beings on that ship, we should help them. It's the right thing to do, and it could be our first chance to make contact." He thought for a moment, then made his decision. "Lieutenant Park, prepare a rescue team. Take a shuttle and investigate that ship. Chief Kang, assign a security team to go with them. Full protective gear and weapons, but keep them holstered unless there's a clear threat." Jisoo stood up from her station. "Yes, Captain." "How many people should I take?" "A small team. You, 2 security officers, and Medical Officer Kwan. Keep in constant communication with the Colossus." Jisoo nodded and left the bridge to prepare for the mission. Daeho turned back to the main screen, studying the damaged alien ship. It was smaller than he had expected, maybe only 100 meters long. Its design was strange, with curves and angles that no human engineer would have chosen. "Captain," Hanbyol called from communications. "I'm still receiving fragments of those signals. They seem to be getting more urgent. I think they might be distress calls related to that ship. Can you send a message back?" Let them know we're here to help? I can try, but I don't know if they'll understand us. Do your best. 30 minutes later, Jisoo and her team were ready. They boarded a shuttle and launched from the Colossus. Daeho watched on the main screen as the small craft moved toward the damaged alien ship. Approaching the vessel now, Captain. Jisoo's voice came through the speakers. It's definitely not human design. The hull has a crystalline structure unlike any metal we use. Any signs of what caused the damage? Daeho asked. It looks like they were hit by weapons fire. There are burn marks and precision cuts that asteroids wouldn't make. That was worrying news. It meant there were hostile forces in this part of space. Proceed with extra caution, Lieutenant. We've found what looks like an airlock. We're attempting to dock. Connection established. We're going in now. The bridge crew waited in tense silence. Daeho could hear the sound of the rescue team's breathing through the communication link. Then Jisoo gasped, Captain, we've made contact. There are 3 alien beings here. They're alive but injured. They have crystalline skin and 4 arms each. They seem to be afraid of us. Daeho felt a rush of emotions. Excitement, wonder, concern. Humanity had just confirmed they were not alone in the universe. Is Dr. Kwan able to help them? He's examining them now. He says their biology is different from ours, but their injuries look like cuts and burns that he might be able to treat. We're bringing them back to the shuttle. They're not resisting, but they keep making sounds we can't understand. Bring them to the Colossus. We'll take them to medical bay and do everything we can to help them. An hour later, the shuttle returned to the Colossus. Daeho went to the medical bay to see the aliens for himself. He had to push through a crowd of curious crew members who had gathered in the hallway. Back to your stations, he ordered. I know you're curious, but these beings need medical attention, not an audience. Inside the medical bay, Dr. Jun Seo Kwan was working on one of the aliens. The creatures were about the size of human children, with skin that looked like blue-green crystal. They had forearms that ended in hands with 3 fingers each. Their heads had no hair and their eyes were large and purple. They had no nose, just small holes where a nose would be on a human. Their mouths were small and round. How are they, Doctor? Daeho asked quietly. Stable, I think, Jun Seo replied. Their blood is blue and seems to contain copper instead of iron like ours. Their injuries are severe but not life-threatening. I've cleaned and bandaged the wounds, but I'm being very careful with medications. I don't want to give them anything that might poison them. One of the aliens turned its head to look at Daeho. Its large purple eyes blinked slowly. It made a series of clicking and whistling sounds. It's trying to communicate, Jisoo said. She stood nearby, still wearing her protective suit but with the helmet removed. They've been making those sounds since we found them. The ship's AI is recording everything and trying to find patterns. Have they shown any aggressive behavior? Daeho asked. No, Captain. If anything, they seem afraid of us. When we first entered their ship, they tried to hide. They only came with us when they realized we were trying to help them. Daeho stepped closer to the medical bed. He moved slowly, trying to appear non-threatening. My name is Captain Daeho Kim of the HSS Colossus. We are humans from the planet Earth. We want to help you. The alien blinked again and made more sounds. Then it raised one of its 4 hands and pointed at its chest. Lumini, it said slowly, the sound strange but clear. Lumini, Daeho repeated. Is that your name or your species? The alien just blinked at him. This is a good start, Jun Seo said. But true communication will take time. We need to learn each other's languages. Assign our best linguists to work with them, Daeho ordered. And I want the diplomats involved too. This is the moment they've trained for. Over the next few days, the Colossus stayed in the same area of space while the crew worked to communicate with the aliens who called themselves Lumini. Progress was slow but steady. The ship's AI created a basic translation program that could handle simple concepts. They learned that the Lumini were not warriors, but diplomats. They had been traveling to a meeting when they were attacked by another species. Their ship was damaged, and they had been drifting for several days before the Colossus found them. On the 5th day after the rescue, Han Byul called Daeho to the bridge. Captain, we're picking up new signals. Much stronger than before. They're coming from multiple directions. The HSS Colossus followed the alien escort for 3 days. During this time, Captain Daeho Kim ordered his crew to prepare in every way possible. The scientists studied all the data they had on the Lumini and their technology. The diplomats practiced greetings and protocols. The security team ran combat drills just in case. The 3 Lumini survivors grew stronger each day. As their health improved, So did communication. The ship's AI translation program became more accurate with each conversation. The senior Lumini diplomat who called himself Errol spent hours talking with Deho and the human diplomatic team. Your council, Deho asked during one meeting. What can you tell us about it? What should we expect? Errol's crystalline skin shimmered as he spoke. 7 species rule council. Each very old, very advanced. They find new species, watch them, then invite them to join Galaxy when ready, but must follow council rules. What kind of rules? Technology limits. No weapons beyond certain power. No ships beyond certain size. Errol gestured around him. Your ship breaks many rules. Jisoo, who sat beside Deho, frowned. But we didn't know about these rules. We've never met aliens before. Council not care, Errol replied. Rules are rules. Species must be guided slowly into galactic community. Humans skipped steps. And what happens to species that break the rules? Deho asked. Errol's purple eyes blinked slowly. Punishment. Technology taken. Planet watched closely. Sometimes, planets that resist are made examples. The humans in the room exchanged worried glances. Head diplomat Su Jin-Oh spoke up. Are you saying they might attack Earth? If humans refuse council authority, yes, possible. Deho's face hardened. Earth will not surrender its sovereignty or its right to develop technology. We came in peace, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. Errol made a sound that the translator identified as a sigh. Council very powerful. Many ships, many weapons. So does Earth, Deho replied. And the Colossus is just the first of our Titan-class ships. 3 more are being built as we speak. This wasn't exactly true. Earth had plans for more ships but had not started building them. But Errol didn't need to know that. Then perhaps, Errol said, this meeting will change history. On the 4th day of their journey, the Colossus and its escort arrived at the council headquarters. It was a massive space station orbiting a neutron star. The station was shaped like a giant ring, with 7 large sections representing the 7 council species. Ships of all sizes and designs moved around it. Look at all those different ships, Taewoo said in wonder as they approached. Dozens of alien species must use this station. And we're the new kids on the block, Jisoo added. The ones nobody expected. Deho studied the station on the main screen. Hanbyul, are you receiving any communications from them? Communications Officer Hanbyul Yoon nodded. Yes, Captain. They're sending docking instructions. They want us to attach to the main ring at docking port 7. Can the Colossus fit there? Taewoo checked the measurements. Just barely, sir. I think they're not used to ships our size coming to visit. Security Chief Kang, what's your assessment? Deho asked. Minji Kang stood with her arms crossed. I don't like it, Captain. Once we're docked, we'll be vulnerable. I recommend we maintain full shields and keep our engines ready for immediate departure. Agreed, Deho said. And I want a full security team ready to go with us to the council meeting. Who will attend? Sujin asked. Myself, you, Lieutenant Park, and Science Officer Choi. Deho decided. A small delegation is less threatening, but still shows the different aspects of our mission. And the Lumine? Jisoo asked. Errol has asked to come with us. He says he can help explain things to both sides. I've agreed. The Colossus approached the docking port slowly. The human pilots worked carefully to align the massive battleship with the station. With a gentle bump and a series of mechanical sounds, they connected. Deho stood and straightened his dress uniform. Today he wore his formal blue coat with gold buttons and all his medals. It's time to introduce humanity to the galaxy. Let's hope they like us. The small delegation walked through the Colossus to the airlock. Security officers lined the way, standing at attention. The crew they passed looked nervous but proud. Everyone understood what was at stake. At the airlock, Errol waited for them. The Lumini diplomat now wore formal attire of his own, a sort of shimmering robe that matched his crystalline skin. Ready, human friends? He asked. Ready, Deho confirmed. The airlock opened, revealing a long corridor. On the other side stood a group of aliens. Some looked similar to the Lumini, but others were completely different. One was tall and thin with gray skin. Another was short and round with 6 eyes. A third floated above the ground, its body wrapped in some kind of energy field. The reception committee, Sujin whispered. A tall alien with red crystal skin stepped forward. I am Zentar, Council Security Chief. You will follow me to the council chamber. The translation came through earpieces the humans wore. Deho nodded. Thank you for receiving us. The group walked through the space station. The corridors were wide and full of different alien species. Many stopped to stare at the humans. Some pointed and whispered to each other. "They've never seen humans before," Tae-woo said quietly. "We're as strange to them as they are to us." After several minutes of walking, they reached a massive door made of some kind of metal that shifted colors. Zentar pressed his hand to a panel and the door slid open. "The council awaits. Speak only when spoken to." Inside was a circular room with high ceilings. In the center was a round table with 7 large chairs. In each chair sat a different alien. Around the edges of the room were dozens of smaller seats filled with various species. It reminded Daeho of the United Nations back on Earth. "The 7 council races," Errol whispered to the humans. "Very powerful, very old civilizations. Some have been spacefaring for thousands of years." Centaur led them to the center of the room, directly in front of the council table. "The human delegation from planet Earth," he announced loudly. One of the council members stood. This alien was humanoid, but with skin that seemed to shift between solid and liquid states. "I am Grand Arbiter Vex of the Galactic Council. You stand before us unauthorized and uninvited. Your ship violates numerous council regulations on size and weaponry. Explain yourselves," Daeho stepped forward. "I am Captain Daeho Kim of the United Earth Government. With me are Lieutenant Jisoo Park, Diplomat Soo-jin Oh, and Science Officer Tae-woo Choi. We come in peace from Earth, a planet that until now believed it might be alone in the galaxy. We built the HSS Colossus to explore space and seek out other intelligent life. We had no knowledge of the Galactic Council or its rules." Murmurs spread through the room. Another council member, who resembled a large insect with multiple eyes, clicked its mandibles. "How did you develop warp technology without detection by our observation teams?" "All developing worlds are monitored," Tae-woo spoke up. "We developed it ourselves through scientific research and exploration of our own solar system. Earth has been sending out radio signals for over 100 years. We've launched thousands of satellites and probes. If you were monitoring us, you should have seen all this." A third council member, who floated above its chair in a cloud of blue energy, moved closer. "Earth is in a section of the galaxy we considered empty of advanced life. Its star was categorized as uninteresting. We have been negligent." The Grand Arbiter raised a hand for silence. "Regardless of how this happened, we now face an unprecedented situation. A previously unknown species has appeared with advanced technology, including a warship that exceeds our size regulations by 5 times. This cannot be allowed." Daeho felt his heart sink. This wasn't going well. "We did not come to threaten anyone. The Colossus is designed for exploration and self-defense, not conquest. Yet it carries weapons that could destroy small moons," said a council member, who looked like a tall, thin tree with eyes embedded in its bark. "We have scanned your vessel. Its power exceeds that of ships twice its size in our own fleets." Diplomat Soo-jin Oh stepped forward. "Honored council members, humanity has a long history of conflict among ourselves. When we unified our planet and looked to the stars, we did not know what we would find. The Colossus was built strong because we feared meeting hostile aliens. Instead, we have found a thriving galactic community. We wish to join this community, to learn and share knowledge." The Grand Arbiter's fluid face rippled. Noble words. "But the Council has procedures. Emerging species must be evaluated, guided, and slowly integrated. You have bypassed this process entirely." "We didn't know about your process," Jisoo said, her voice showing a hint of frustration. "You can't punish us for breaking rules we never heard of." Errol stepped forward. "Council members, I speak as one who has directly experienced the human's character. When my ship was attacked and damaged, they rescued me and my colleagues. They provided medical care. They treated us with respect and kindness. Yes, their ship is large and powerful, but they have shown no aggression." The council members looked at each other, communicating in ways the translation devices couldn't catch. Finally, the Grand Arbiter spoke again. "The council requires time to discuss this matter. You will be escorted to waiting quarters. Do not attempt to leave them until summoned." "And my ship?" Daeho asked. "My crew?" Silence fell over the council chamber. The Grand Arbiter's fluid face rippled with emotion as he stared at the image of the Colossus, hovering just outside the station. 20 council warships surrounded the human vessel, but none moved to attack. "You have committed an act of war," the Arbiter said finally. "Your ship has fired upon council vessels." "No," Captain Daeho Kim replied calmly. My ship defended itself with minimal force. If we wanted war, this station would already be destroyed. The Colossus's main weapons have not been fired. One of the council members, the one that resembled a tree, leaned forward. Is this true? The human ship possesses greater weapons than what it has shown. Scan us again, Deho suggested. You'll find that our main particle cannons and antimatter missiles remain inactive. What you saw was only our point defense system. The insect-like council member clicked its mandibles. The scans confirm this. Their primary weapons are still powered down. A murmur ran through the watching crowd. Many of the alien representatives were looking at the humans with new interest and perhaps respect. The Grand Arbiter seemed to struggle with this development. Captain Kim, surely you understand our position. The Council has maintained peace in this sector for thousands of years by carefully controlling dangerous technology. Your ship represents a threat to that balance. I understand your concerns, Deho said, but Earth will not surrender its right to defend itself, nor will we give up our technology. However, we are willing to negotiate limits on how we use that technology in Council space. Before the Arbiter could respond, the doors to the chamber burst open. A group of aliens rushed in. They resembled the Lumini with their crystalline skin, but theirs was deep green instead of blue. They wore what looked like military uniforms. The Verdant Confederation demands to be heard, shouted their leader. If humans are being judged, we claim the right to speak. This is highly irregular, the Arbiter protested. The Verdant have no standing here. Actually, said the tree-like council member, according to Section 47 of the Council Charter, any species may speak when matters affecting the whole galaxy are discussed. I believe this qualifies. The Arbiter looked annoyed but nodded reluctantly. Proceed then. The Verdant leader approached the center of the room. For 300 years, the Verdant have requested permission to expand our territory and develop stronger defenses against the swarm that threatens our outer colonies. For 300 years, the Council has denied us. Now we see a new species appear with technology that exceeds Council limits, and instead of welcoming them, you threaten them. This proves what many have long suspected. The Council's rules exist not for peace but for control. Shouts of both agreement and protest erupted from the watching aliens. Deho glanced at Errol, who whispered, The Verdant are cousins to Lumini. Once powerful, now restricted by Council. Many other species feel same. The floating Council member moved forward. This is not the time for old grievances, Verdant. The human situation is unique, is it? Asked another voice. A small, furry alien had stood up from the audience. The Kalari also wished to speak. We were forced to dismantle our defensive fleet 50 years ago. Now raiders attack our trade ships regularly, and the Council provides minimal protection. Perhaps if we had ships like the human vessel, we could defend ourselves. More voices joined in. The chamber grew louder as representatives from different species rose to speak. Some supported the Council, but many others voiced complaints about restrictions and unequal treatment. You see what you have started? The Arbiter said to Deho. Chaos, disorder. I see democracy, Deho replied. Different voices being heard. Is that not the purpose of a council? The Arbiter had no immediate answer. Meanwhile, on the large screen, they could see more ships arriving near the station. Vessels of various designs, not just council warships. Captain, Lieutenant Jisoo Park whispered, I think we've accidentally started a revolution. Or at least a serious debate, Deho whispered back. Science Officer Tae-woo Choi studied the aliens around them with fascination. The political structure here is more fragile than it appeared. Many species seem unhappy with council rule. The Grand Arbiter raised his hands for silence. It took several minutes for the chamber to quiet down. This discussion has become unproductive. We will adjourn to consider these new perspectives. The human delegation will be escorted back to their waiting quarters. And what about our ship? Deho asked. Your vessel may maintain its current position. No council ships will approach it without permission. This is a gesture of goodwill. Deho nodded. It was progress, at least. As they were led from the chamber, several alien representatives approached them, speaking quickly to Errol, who translated as best he could. Many wanted to know more about Earth and humans. Some offered support or alliance. Back in their waiting quarters, Deho contacted the Colossus. Chief Kang, status report. All systems normal, Captain, Minji Kang replied. The council ships are keeping their distance. We're monitoring communications in the area. There's a lot of chatter about humans and Earth. I think you made quite an impression. Good. Maintain your position but stay alert. I don't entirely trust this temporary peace. Yes, sir. Oh, and Captain? We've managed to send a full report to Earth. They know we've made contact and about our current situation. Excellent. Any response? Not yet. It will take time for our message to reach them, even with the quantum relay. After ending the communication, Deho turned to his team. It seems we've stepped into a complicated political situation. Sujin nodded. The council presents itself as a unified government, but there's clearly discontent among many species. Our arrival has brought these tensions to the surface. Can we use this to our advantage? Jisoo asked. Perhaps, Deho said thoughtfully. But we must be careful. We didn't come here to cause conflict. Our mission is to establish peaceful contact and protect Earth's interests. If we can do that by helping reform the council rather than fighting it, that would be preferable. Errol, who had been quiet, finally spoke. Many species impressed by human ship and human courage. Standing against council rare. Most species submit when found. Is that why the Verdant spoke up? Taewoo asked. Because we refuse to submit? Yes, Errol confirmed. Verdant, Kalari, others. They watch. They see humans stand strong, gives them courage, and what happens now? Jisoo asked the Lumini diplomat. Council debate. May take hours or days. Some want punish humans. Others now see opportunity for change. A chime sounded at their door. When it opened, they found Zentar standing there with several guards. The Grand Arbiter requests Captain Kim's presence alone. Deho's crew looked concerned. It's all right, he assured them. Keep working with Errol to learn more about the different species. The more we understand, the better we can navigate the situation. He followed Zentar through the corridors of the station. Instead of returning to the council chamber, they entered a smaller private room. The Grand Arbiter waited there, his fluid form seated at a small table. Captain Kim, please sit. The Arbiter gestured to a chair. Deho sat down, noticing that the chair had been adjusted to fit human proportions. A small courtesy, but perhaps a meaningful one. I wish to speak with you directly without the performance of the public chamber, the Arbiter said. You have created quite a disturbance in our orderly community. That was not our intention, Deho replied. We came seeking friendship, did you? With a warship? The Arbiter's tone was not accusing, merely curious. As I explained, the Colossus was built for exploration and self-defense. Earth has a long history of conflict among ourselves. We feared we might find similar conflicts among the stars. And instead you found us, the Council, maintaining peace through strict control. Deho nodded. A different approach than ours. On Earth we tried that method, having powerful nations control others. It never lasted. True peace only came when all nations had a voice. The Arbiter was quiet for a moment. The Council is very old, Captain Kim. Some of our member species have been spacefaring for over 5,000 of your years. We have seen civilizations rise and fall. We have witnessed terrible wars that destroyed entire solar systems. Our methods may seem harsh to you, but they are born of bitter experience. I understand the desire for safety, Deho said, but at what cost? From what I've seen today, many species under your rule feel stifled. Some do, the Arbiter admitted. Younger races often chafe at restrictions, but as they mature, they understand the necessity. The Arbiter's fluid face formed what might have been a smile, though I must admit no new species has ever arrived quite as dramatically as humanity. We tend to make an entrance, Deho said with a small smile of his own. Indeed. The Arbiter leaned forward. Tell me, Captain, if the Council were to recognize Earth as an independent power, not subject to our technology restrictions but also not protected by our fleets, what would humanity do? Would you build an empire? Would you arm those species who resent our rule? No, Deho said firmly. Earth has no desire for conquest. We want to explore, to learn, to trade. We believe that all intelligent species should have the right to determine their own destiny. But we would not interfere in your established order without invitation. The council chamber looked very different from the last time Captain Deho Kim had stood there. Instead of tension and suspicion, there was a sense of cautious respect. The 7 council members sat at their table, but their postures were less rigid, more open. Around the edges of the room, representatives from dozens of species watched with interest. Captain Kim of Earth, the Grand Arbiter began, his fluid face rippling with what might have been a smile. Your actions against the Swarm Scout have been viewed by all Council races. Your ship's power was impressive, but more notable was your restraint and your willingness to cooperate with our patrol ships. Deho nodded politely. The Swarm is clearly a threat to all intelligent life. Humans understand the value of setting aside differences when facing a common enemy. Indeed. The Arbiter gestured to the other Council members. We have been discussing Earth's unique situation. It is unprecedented for a species to appear so suddenly with such advanced technology. Our initial reaction was, perhaps overly cautious. Fear often leads to poor decisions, Deho said. On Earth, we have learned this lesson many times. The tree-like Council member leaned forward. We would like to hear more about Earth, your history, your development. How did humans advance so quickly without outside influence? Science Officer Taewoo Choi stepped forward. With respect, we did not advance quickly by our standards. Humans have been developing technology for thousands of years. We made many mistakes along the way, including terrible wars that nearly destroyed our civilization. Each time we learned and grew stronger. What Taewoo means, Lieutenant Jisoo Park added, is that humans had to earn our knowledge the hard way. No one gave us shortcuts. Perhaps that's why we value our independence so highly. The insect-like Council member clicked its mandibles. Yet now you seek to join the galactic community? To connect with other species? Yes, Diplomat Sujino replied. Humans have always been explorers and traders. We want to learn from others and share what we know. But as equals, not as subjects. The Grand Arbiter nodded slowly. The Council has ruled this sector of space for thousands of years. Our methods have maintained peace and order. But perhaps some of our rules have become too rigid over time. Murmurs spread through the watching crowd. This was an unprecedented admission from the Council leader. Captain Kim, the Arbiter continued, we propose a new arrangement. Earth will be recognized as an independent power, not subject to standard Council technology restrictions. In return, we ask that you share your defensive capabilities, particularly those that proved effective against the Swarm, and agree to certain territorial limitations. Deho considered this carefully. What kind of territorial limitations? Earth ships would be welcome in Council space for trade, diplomacy, and joint defense efforts. But human colonies would be limited to your home solar system, and a buffer zone of 10 light-years in all directions. This would prevent territorial disputes with established Council races. It was a generous offer, much better than their initial demands for Earth submission. But Deho was a negotiator at heart. I cannot commit Earth to such an agreement without consulting my government. However, I can say that while the territorial terms seem reasonable, we would want mutual defense guarantees. If Earth is attacked, the Council would aid us just as we would aid the Council against threats like the Swarm. The Arbiter exchanged glances with the other Council members. That seems fair. We would need to work out the details, of course. Of course, Deho agreed. We would also request open cultural and scientific exchange with all Council races, not just the 7 ruling species. This caused some stirring among the Council members. The floating energy being spoke for the first time. You would interact directly with younger races? Without Council oversight? Knowledge should flow freely, Taewoo said firmly. Scientific progress benefits from diverse perspectives. The Verdant leader who had remained in the chamber stepped forward. The Verdant support this proposal. For too long, the Council has controlled what technologies and information could be shared between species. Other representatives voiced their agreement. The chamber grew louder as more species joined the discussion. Some supported the traditional Council approach, but many seemed eager for change. The Arbiter raised his hands for quiet. It seems Captain Kim has sparked quite a debate. Perhaps it is time for the Council itself to evolve. He turned to face the 7 Council members. I propose we form a working group, with representatives from both the Council races and others, including humans. Their task would be to draft a new charter, one that maintains our commitment to peace while allowing for more flexibility and input from all species. This was met with applause from many in the chamber. The tree-like Council member added, and I propose that our first joint project be improved defenses against the Swarm. If one scout has come this far into our territory, others will follow. We must be prepared. For the next several hours, the discussion continued. Deho and his team participated actively, sharing Earth's perspective while learning about the complex relationships between the various alien species. Errol stayed by their side, helping explain cultural nuances they might otherwise miss. As the formal meeting concluded, the Grand Arbiter approached Deho privately. "Captain, you have started something here. Change does not come easily to a system as old as ours. Change is necessary for growth," Deho replied. "Without it, systems become rigid and eventually break." "Perhaps." The Arbiter's fluid face formed what might have been a thoughtful expression. "May I ask how many more ships like the Colossus does Earth possess?" Deho smiled slightly. "That, Grand Arbiter, is information I'm not at liberty to share. But I can tell you that the Colossus is just the beginning of Earth's journey to the stars." The Arbiter seemed to accept this non-answer. "Fair enough. I look forward to working with you and your species, Captain Kim. You have brought both challenge and opportunity to our galaxy." After the meeting, Deho and his team returned to the Colossus. The massive ship had become something of a celebrity among the alien vessels gathered at the council station. Several diplomatic shuttles had requested permission to visit, and Deho had granted a few carefully supervised tours. On the bridge, the captain sat in his chair, looking out at the stars. Jisoo stood beside him. "Quite a day," she said. "When we left Earth, I never imagined we'd end up reforming an entire galactic government." Deho laughed. "I don't think the council is quite reformed yet. But we've started a conversation that needed to happen. Sometimes that's enough." "Captain," Hanbyul called from communications. "We're receiving a transmission from Earth. They've received our reports and are sending a response." "On screen," Deho ordered. Admiral Sung-Ho Lee's face appeared. He looked both proud and concerned. "Captain Kim, your reports have caused quite a stir back home. First contact with not one alien species but dozens, and a galactic council that initially wanted to subjugate us. You've been busy." "Yes, sir," Deho replied with a small smile. "Things have improved since those initial reports. The council now recognizes Earth as an independent power, and we're negotiating terms for peaceful interaction." "Good work. The United Earth government has been in emergency session since receiving your first message. They've authorized me to inform you that we're accelerating the construction of the next 3 Titan-class ships. Earth needs to be ready for whatever's out there." "A wise precaution," Deho agreed. "But I believe we have potential allies here, not just challenges. The Council has maintained peace in this sector for thousands of years, even if their methods are more controlling than we would prefer." "And this swarm you encountered?" "A genuine threat, Admiral. Like nothing we've seen before. But fighting it gave us common ground with the Council. I've already proposed joint defense efforts." The Admiral nodded. "The Council approves an official diplomatic mission from Earth. Ambassador Junseo Kwan will lead a team of diplomats, scientists, and cultural experts. They'll depart in 2 weeks aboard the science vessel HSS Galileo. Your mission is to prepare the way for their arrival and continue building relationships with the various alien species." "Yes, sir. We won't let Earth down." "I know you won't, Captain. You've already made history. Earth is proud of you and your crew." After the communication ended, Deho turned to his bridge officers. "It seems our mission has been extended. We're to be Earth's representatives until the official diplomatic team arrives." "More time to learn about alien cultures," Tae-woo said with excitement. "The scientific opportunities are endless." "And more time for potential trouble," Minji added from her security station. "We should remain vigilant, always," Deho agreed. "But we've shown we can handle ourselves, and we've made friends here." As if to confirm his words, a communication alert sounded. "Captain," Hanbyul reported, "we're receiving a request from a Verdant diplomatic ship. They're inviting us to a cultural exchange event on their vessel." "Accept with thanks," Deho replied. "Jisoo, you'll lead our delegation. Take Tae-woo and a few others who've expressed interest in alien cultures." Jisoo nodded. "Yes, Captain. This could be a good opportunity to learn more about the species who supported us in the council chamber."